Chapter 6 Stolen Glory. You should have been valedictorian. I still sometimes hear from time to time, I should have been valedictorian. I will admit that I was very confused that I wasn't. After all, the student who became valedictorian was out sick for a good amount of time before school ended. I vaguely remember the accusations that flew. 1. My parents did not pay enough. 2. Their parents obviously paid more. 3. The valedictorian always came from that section, because in that school, the students have an assigned section. Think of it as cohort, who they take most classes with and have an assigned advisor for the year. 4. My advisor had less pull or say on who was going to be valedictorian. Regardless, I have managed to allow that wound to fester. The honor of addressing the class as valedictorian was stolen from me. I thought somehow I could steal it back in high school. However, I was out of luck. My parents encouraged me to apply to 3 science high schools. They were willing to send me, their then 12-year-old daughter, to a school over an hour bus ride away, one way. But let's not get ahead to the next chapter. A private Catholic school that I have attended since I was maybe 5 years old. I used to tell anyone who would listen that I learned to read at 3 years old. I watched plenty of American English cartoons recorded on VHS by my well-meaning relatives who already migrated to the US. My brain rewired itself to latch on to the American English language. I would not know at the time now how much advantage that would give me. By 2nd grade, I was devouring my neighbor's Reader's Digest subscription. I wait until she finishes reading, then I just pretty much come over to her house and read. My mother brought home more reading materials from her coworkers. I was smitten with reading all about the rest of the world. 2nd grade was also spent with my younger sister being ushered to my classroom because for whatever reason she wouldn't stop crying. Her teacher would bring her upstairs to my class and she was allowed to sit next to me. That did not stop me from showing off my reading skills, and it became apparent that I also had great memorization skills, as I recited the Little Red Riding Book from cover to cover. That might also have been the start of my oration contest streak. Bronze, silver, gold. Every medal was rewarded by a treat. A new book, clothes, CDs, or was it cassette tapes at the time? Jollibee. Lots and lots of spaghetti, the sweet Filipino style, and yum burger, and fried chicken dipped in glorious gravy. I graduated grade school with over 20 medals easily. I wonder what happened to them. Did my father manage to bring them across the Pacific when we migrated? I wonder what happened to the girl who was told her glory was stolen. What happened to the valedictorian? Well, of course, she is a practicing medical doctor now. That's what valedictorians are supposed to do, right? Keep achieving more and more and more. I am grateful it wasn't me then. 2nd best was not so bad. No one would be able to steal my first lifelong lesson of life is not fair. And maybe if the adults in my life didn't insist it was stolen, or still occasionally reminded me of my failure to place first, then I wouldn't feel so inadequate and hurt. But the truth is, I can only focus on what I have control over. That it didn't matter what ranking I had, what mattered was I learned and I taught myself that I could endure. By 4th grade, or maybe even 3rd, boys have entered the picture. It's just a little crush, as that Mandy Moore song goes. I was smitten by boys. I never could choose. Part indecisiveness and part, well, what if I choose someone who doesn't choose me back? Why? Because being a fat, yes, fat, Not chubby or healthy or whatever else less offensive word or body positive spin. Just fat. A fat grade schooler was not desirable to boys or to herself. And just like that Pure Foods hot dog commercial of a girl choosing her hot dog snack plate over a boy named Carlo, my young self also continued to choose food over boys. I still wrote love letters from time to time. I traded poems for favors, and if I remember correctly, they were all written in English. I had hoped that young writer would not give up on her voice, but the environment was not exactly encouraging. I was eventually corrected that I didn't attend a Catholic or Christian school. I attended a private school that just happened to have a church and the Catholic religion as one of the subjects. And as luck would have it, my religion teacher was a walking miracle who has survived several strokes. She also sold chocolates from duty free. They don't pay teachers enough even in private school. And so most of the students looked forward to religion class time like Pavlov-trained dogs. I associated that class with chocolates. I can't speak for anyone else's experience. I had my first communion and some other sacraments. I was confused why not all the students were there. Turns out, one does not have to be Catholic to pay private school tuition. And remember how I said I grew up in a squatted home? Well, that part of not having a mortgage or rent to pay probably allowed my parents to afford private school education for their children. Not the fancy private school either. Just some good old Catholic indoctrination where a rosary was part of the uniform, but only if you're Catholic. Soul of Christ, sanctify me, body of Christ, save me, water from the side of Christ, wash me, passion of Christ, give me strength. Hear me, Jesus, hide me in thy wounds that I may never leave thy side. From all the evil that surrounds me, defend me. And when the call of death arrives, bid me come to thee that I may never leave thy side forever. I will never be able to get that prayer, song, or is it hymn out of my head because even though I no longer practice as a Catholic, I have made it part of my coping skills. I sing it to myself at my most unfortunate moments. I can hear it playing over and over. Nonetheless, the school cannot take full credit as I spent summers with my ninang's family. That is my godmother, the lawyer, the standard to who I aspire to be. Her family was very much Catholic and they took me to church with them as well as choir practices. If my life was a horror movie, then my pink rosary from communion and enough Our Fathers and Hail Marys should have saved me. My first failed run for office also happened in this school. It was the kind of election where the officials ask the class by show of hands who they're voting for. And that's how I understood the gross concept of relying on a two-party system. The 6th grade class was divided into 2 sections, empathy and honesty. And just a year prior, I lost a spelling contest for spelling honesty as honesty, with a U instead of HO. Empathy all voted straight for the candidate from their class. Honesty betrayed me. I'm in the room, guys, I thought to myself. But in the end, what did I really lose? Scraps of paper with my name and position I was running for? Rigged, I tell you. My classmates raised their hands to vote for the candidate who is in another class and does not spend 6 or so hours in class with them. Screw your two-party system. I didn't lose. I was betrayed by disloyal honesty students. We were supposed to stick together, class. I also literally ran. I loved intramurals as an observer, but never a participant. There was that apple green cheerleading outfit from 4th grade. And because I was fat, I was always part of the foundation of the pyramid routine. And I digress. Back to running. My class, like the other classes, held tryouts for a jogging relay race. Students ran in pairs, and whoever got to the finish line made the team. I knew I should have slowed down. I somehow crossed the finish line first and was informed I was competing. Are you serious? I barely participated in PE, and in 3rd grade, I asked for so many exemptions they finally just gave up and allowed me to participate however I want. These experiences prepared me for the next step when the going got tough at the next level. Next stop, Hell School. Today's statement of gratitude is how thankful I am for this school with helping build the foundation of my faith and allowing me to just be who I am.